Welcome to India Film Festival of Alberta 2018 in Cold Lake, presented by Edmonton Movie Club and Gujarat Tourism. Considering the movie you are about to see, I would imagine that many of you already know what Tourette syndrome is, or have at least heard of it. Just to break it down briefly though, Tourette is neurological and consists of tics. A tic is a movement, sound, or word that is either semi-voluntary or involuntary. This might be preceded by a premonitory urge to tic. What this means is that we might feel it coming or have an irrepressible urge to act on an impulse to make a certain movement or noise. Some moments we may be capable of suppressing these tics, while others we can't help but let them out. It's comparable to breathing. We may be able to hold our breath for a little while, but eventually we have to breathe in. It's very variable. One person might tic every few seconds, while another might go hours without ticking. Well, only 10% of those who have Tourette have the aspect of it where they swear. The cussing you may hear is not really cussing when there's no negative intention behind the words. These words are just empty noises, just a part of a certain brain wiring. What can a tic look like? Anything. Anything that the human body is capable of can be a tic. The variety of tics, ranging from simple eye blinking, nose twitching, sniffing, to complex twirling, stomping, or a series of words, are so vast that I compared the experience of having tics to a fingerprint. Different for everyone. When my tics first started, I was told to be quiet because it wasn't understood that I couldn't help it. I went from being shushed and embarrassed to years later changing my perspective completely. I became very accepting of myself, and I felt a need to help others to feel the same way. This didn't come easily though. I needed time, and for events to show themselves to me in ways that changed how I saw the world. Part of the problem initially was me. I didn't want to be different, and I couldn't see past how I couldn't be just like everyone else. Part of the problem was also the snickers, the stares, and the bold few who imitated my noises like it was a joke. I used to think I was defective. Defective is the language that I actually used. When I involuntarily uttered noises, I was horrified, embarrassed. I covered my mouth with a shocked expression. In time, I learned to ignore the laughing and the mocking imitations. I realized in those moments that what set me apart from them was knowledge. If they had understood what was happening, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they would have acted differently. There was a time when my tics made it so that I wasn't always the most capable. No, that's not true. The truth is, I didn't believe I was capable. I had given up on myself and in what I could do. I believed I had failed, that I could amount to nothing. This reached me so deeply, as I was unable to see a point in life. I had truly given up. What I was told at the time was to make plans, to make goals for myself, and to believe I actually had a future. I didn't believe this was possible. What could the twitching, mumbling, seemingly inappropriate girl do when she had no control of herself? I needed to know, what was the answer to Tourette? I wished for a magic pill to take it away. It took me years to realize that there didn't need to be a cure or an answer to Tourette, because Tourette was the answer. I didn't need to make plans like Tourette was some kind of curse to work around. I needed to make plans that included my Tourette and highlighted it, because there was no need to run away from what in the end was not what defined me, but what made me redefine what it meant to me. I redefined Tourette. I moved to Montreal from a nearby small town, and I created an in-person support group for adults with Tourette syndrome. I researched the condition and educated myself on the strengths that come with Tourette. I sought out opportunities to speak about my noises, and in the end, I even found a job where I could work with people who make noises too. I became so in tune with how right it was that Tourette had crossed my path, because now I could use it to reach out to others feeling the same as I once had, and I could tell them about the gift we shared. I know that many of you don't believe in yourselves either. Acknowledge that it's a belief. Take the reins and make your own plans. Achieve, because you are more than what you think. You have not failed. You are only on your way to your next destination. I was molded in a way by those who stood by me. I had a friend who would say, "I love you," every time I would have an aspect of Tourette where I would swear. And I remember that tone of love fondly. Bye. It took me a long time to learn that I was not the lesser for my tics. Today I am certain that Tourette isn't a cool feature or a selling point. Having Tourette doesn't make a person exceptional. It's what we do in the face of our unique instances that sets us apart. Believing in ourselves can be a challenge. Imagine seeing Tourette as an advantage and insisting beyond general opinion that you can, when they say that you can't. In the end, not only do you believe in yourself, but you realize everyone else believes in you too. And they don't believe because you huffed and puffed and insisted. They believe because considering what was once perceived as an inability was disproved at the sweat of your brow, or at the way you let determination and talent define you. But you didn't overcome Tourette. You overcame perception. What was once what I considered made me a defective anomaly, I realized was a strength. As a person with Tourette, we have our own unique view of the world and our own way of dealing with being different, with being so in the public eye because we can't help but be. I once said this before, but I firmly believe that those who can never be invisible or never be the proverbial flower on the wall might have something valuable to say about standing out while blending in. Bye. If I walk past a crowd of officers and I take the words, "Call the cops," I have the opportunity to either turn my head in shame or to smile and give a bit of a wave. It's all in how we deal with the situation. Rett syndrome is merely one of those states that you can't hide. Many of you are going through something that makes you feel like you're being held back. Like you're that 1% of the population that, like Tourette, makes you unordinary or strange. Perhaps you are. But without that push for faith for what makes you uniquely capable, you won't embrace your differences and apply them in ways that make you stand out. Tourette is noisy, but that's not what makes a person stand out. It's what we do in the face of it. Bye. It might sound corny to cite a rhyme for children, but it's one of my favorites to look back on and feel just a little empowered. In the words of Shel Silverstein, listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Now listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. That quote makes me think of what I might be told in daily life. Don't go to the movie theater, I hear them say. Don't go near children, they warn. These are the things that I hear, and there was a time that I listened. Today, I would much rather educate, because knowledge kills ignorance at the root. People try to protect children from people like me, but children aren't immune to understanding. They are the best minds to mold in positive, understanding ways that change the future. Tourette may be difficult to understand for the very young, but what they have no shortage of is acceptance. We all had that once. Perhaps we can learn it again. It's all in the perspective. Perhaps one day with everyone else's, but it starts with our own. You do what you need to do in order to get where you need to be, and I needed to be here. I needed to tell you that you are capable. Anything can happen. Anything can be.